Good morning, good morning, good morning. This is the last live stream of the year. Welcome to Kitchen Draft Live. In today's video, we're gonna be making some nice eggs Benedict. Well, I really hope that they're gonna work well. I've not made Hollandaise for a while, so I'm just gonna go through the ingredients. I'm just probably gonna wait a bit till you guys jump into the stream and just gather all the ingredients and all the pans and utensils that I need for this recipe. But good morning. Happy New Year's Eve. Few more hours from this year and we're done. 2022, bring it on. Now, I really hope that you can hear me properly, that you can see me. Morning, Alex. How are you doing, my friend? Right, so for this recipe, what we need for this recipe is fairly simple. I want to kind of like speed it up a bit. I don't want to keep you here all morning. So what we got here, I've got the double induction and what you need for this recipe. So we need quite a few eggs, obviously some for the poached egg and some for the Hollandaise sauce. Good chunk of butter. And when I'm talking, even if you make more, that's fine, because if you clarify more butter, you can just keep it for later on. So that's fine. Just get a block of butter. English muffins, not homemade, but who wants to make English muffins in the morning? Probably a day before, but not me in this situation. I've got some bacon, streaky bacon. You could obviously use Parma ham, just like cooked Parma ham if you want to. I think bacon, especially streaky bacon, works well in this situation. What else we've got here? So we've got vinegar, salt, pepper. I've got some lemon for the Hollandaise, which is going to be used later on. And that's pretty much it. Obviously some chives. Yeah, I forgot to mention. So we've got chives. We're going to finish the dish with a few chives. It looks good. Plus it gives that nice onion flavor, light onion flavor that we all want. Happy New Year. Happy 2022. Okay, so first, we're going to start with the Hollandaise. So what you need for this, you need a pan big enough that can fit a bowl that can take heat, obviously, because this is going to be on top of the boiling water. But just make sure that you don't add more water. So the water shouldn't touch the bowl. The bowl should be just kind of like getting the heat from the steam that's coming from the boiling water. So water in here and straight on the heat. And then, meanwhile, while the water comes to boil, we're going to prepare. This is part of we start first with the Hollandaise because this is probably the more technical part of this is the most probably technical. Although it's not that complicated, this is the most technical part of the dish. So let's separate the eggs first. We want only the yolks. Keep the whites if you want to. But in this situation, you want the egg yolks. So we need 3 egg yolks for this Hollandaise. 1, which is kind of broken, but that's fine. I'm gonna leave with it. And then another one, which is going straight in. And one more. Yeah, this morning we shouldn't be that long. It's not going to be a live like yesterday. If you guys were part for the yesterday live, when the live took like 2 hours and something, this is not going to be that long. It's a breakfast recipe. It's meant to be faster than what we've done yesterday. So let's reduce the heat because this induction is kind of going crazy at this point. So we've got here 3 eggs. I just want to add a splash of vinegar. This will kind of like keep all these eggs together whilst we're cooking them. So a splash of white wine vinegar in there to keep everything nice and now you need a whisk, a balloon whisk. Always that's kind of like handy to you. That works well. And just get it on top of the. And then what this will do, the bain-marie, which is this is the process we're creating now, is basically, let me actually show you what's going on here. So once we're adding the eggs, which as you can see, the bowl doesn't get into that water, which is gonna boil in a minute. We cooking the eggs, we have a lot more, we have a control environment where we're cooking the eggs, and this makes it a lot easier from this point of view. So you could cook it straight on the heat. I mean, I've done it in the past, just kind of in the kitchen. If you know how to control the heat, you could technically go on the heat, cooking it directly on the heat. But that's a lot, you need to be a lot more careful with that, because you don't really have that much control over the heat, and it's directly into the pan. But this with the bowl is like a lot more gentle, and it's a lot more manageable, I would say. And it's probably the best way. And this is, by the way, the Hollandaise is one of the, I think there are 5 basic sauces when I'm talking like French cuisine, and I think this is one of them, 5, 6, something like that. Anyway, this is definitely one of them. So if you know how to do these, you know how to do béarnaise most likely, because they're really similar. This starts boiling, reducing the heat, and then you could do many other. You could kind of like do many other sauces just by knowing, obviously, mayonnaise. If you know how to do this, you're gonna have no problems with mayonnaise, because that's a lot simpler. You don't need any heat. So it's a good sauce to know. Plus, it's very, you can use it in multiple situations, whether you use it with asparagus, whether like you use it like the way we do now for breakfast. And by the way, meanwhile, you want to get the butter. So the butter, just remove this slightly from the heat, because I don't want to kind of overcook it. Just make sure that you continuously, well, at least if you need to do something, just kind of remove it from the heat, not for long. But I'm gonna go with the whole butter. We're not gonna use the whole thing, but I wanna make sure that I have enough. Probably gonna get close to like the whole, using like the whole butter, but I don't really need. Actually, let me just remove a bit, because I'm gonna need it later for the English muffins. So let's just remove like 15 grams, 10, something like that, later on for the English muffins, because I want to toast them in that butter. So with this butter, I want to clarify it and then just pour it over the eggs. But first, I want to make sure that the eggs are cooked properly. So that's what I'm doing at this point. I'm just kind of like forming a sabayon. And it's important to kind of like scrape all these edges, because at the top, you know, it's being so thin. As soon as it touches the bowl at the top, it kind of like turns into scrambled eggs, and you don't want that. That's something that you want to avoid. You want to keep this nice and creamy. We're steaming up here all over the place. Once it's done, this can stay at room temperature for a good couple of hours. Usually what happens in the professional kitchens, they usually make it before service starts. And I'm talking, let's say service starts at 12. You would get it done, let's say 10:30, and use it for that period of time. Let's say 3 hours, probably 4 hours, something like that. You should be good to use it for that period of time without having any issues. Once we get these pretty much half the way through, obviously still have a few things to complete, but this is, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is like probably the most technical part of this dish. You could use just melted butter, but I want to clarify a bit the butter so we get that nice nutty flavor out of it. So let me get a bowl. So I'm going to skim all that foam that's on the top to give it like a cleaner kind of look. Although those bits in the butter, they don't really bother me that much, because they'll kind of like, okay, let's get this off the heat now. It's important to know how to control the heat in this situation. Let me stop here, because this was kind of like fast. So I'm gonna continue mixing because obviously there's still heat in there, but now I need the butter. That's what I need. So we can combine the butter with the, I'm just trying to remove some of this white foam from the top. So we keep the butter nice and clean, but I want to remove some of that, not a lot, because as I said, it doesn't really bother me that much, because once it gets cooked all the way through, this butter, this foam will kind of go to the bottom of the pan and will turn into some sort of like dark bits, but then they don't bother me that much. Plus that's all like flavor, and I think it tastes nice as well. Now let me show you what's going on here. So we're getting ready the butter, which is more of a like clarified in between. We kind of fast forward this. Leave another minute or two. Here is the first part of the Hollandaise sauce, which are just egg yolks and vinegar. At this point, I might wanna add a touch of water, but I need something like a warm water just to kind of like keep this going. Because otherwise, waiting on this, this is gonna split. So that's another trick that you could use to kind of like give you a bit more life to your sabayon mix. Just add a touch of water if you feel like it gets too thick. Just make sure you add warm water, and not, I would have, you can't really go directly from here because the temperature of this is obviously a lot higher than the eggs, so you're gonna overcook the eggs, and it's not something that you want to do in this situation. But it's good to know that you have this option. Okay, the butter is not that far. I mean, I'm just kind of waiting for it to settle a bit so I can remove some more of that foam. But then it's cooking slowly because that's what I want. I want to get a nice clarified butter. I'm not going to go all the way through, but just adding normal butter is not going to get you exactly the same results. It's a lot better if you cook the butter, and in most situations, even if you're using, let's say, to just kind of toss some vegetables into the butter, it's a lot better when you're using clarified butter because it has flavor, it has body, it's just a lot better. I don't think I need this anymore, but I'm just gonna leave it here anyway, because now what's gonna happen? I'm gonna slowly put in the butter in a minute. So that's, again, it's an important step because you don't want to kind of like go all the way through this being really hot and this being a lot colder, although warm, a lot colder. And what you want to do, actually, I don't need the water, that's 100%. Taking a bit of a risk here, but that's fine. So this back in here, just so we have some sort of like, we keep it in place. But I don't think I'm gonna need any more of that water. So once the butter is cooked, which it should take us another like minute or two, we're gonna start putting everything in here and just leave it on the side. This can stay in warm temperature. I'm talking like room temperature, even slightly warmer. That area might be best for what I needed. So I'll just leave it in that corner till I get ready the rest of the ingredients. As I mentioned, this is probably like half job done of this breakfast, considering that this is maybe the most technical part. We're also gonna need a quarter of a lemon, just the juice, obviously. Just getting it ready here, so I add it to it in the end. Let me remove some more of this white foam that starts forming at the top. So as mentioned earlier, cooking the butter, getting it, like a beurre noisette almost, which is the French term for like cooked butter, basically brown butter. It's gonna get us a lot better results, and I think it's something that you should do whenever you're cooking with butter. It's just bringing it to a whole new level. And obviously, if let's say I'm making more than I need, that's fine, because I can kind of like, it's gonna get set and then just chop it up in cubes. And if let's say I need to add it to something, it's just perfect. It's there. It's exactly what we need. I probably should have started with the butter, because just making sure that I get this right at the beginning. but that's fine. It starts getting, as you can see, the color of the butter, it starts changing. I don't want it to go too dark. I mean, I want it to have some flavor, but in the same time, I don't want to go crazy. You could obviously go a bit more. Obviously, at this point, you need to be careful because you might want to burn it. So it's a fine line between burn noisette and burn butter. So you need to make sure that you stop at the right time. Okay, I'll just give you another like 30 seconds. Just adding a touch more water in here because since we're staying here, it's kind of like getting dry. So I don't want a lot more, but just like a splash of water to keep this going so it doesn't go dry. Let me actually show you. So this is still nice alive for now, at least. So it's still nice creamy because just the way we like it for what it is. We could have kind of planned better, as I said, getting this first done and then moving on with so we have the batter ready by the time this is done. But then I started kind of the other way around. That's fine. We still we're gonna make it. Now I'm happy with the batter the way it looks. As you can see, it's got a bit of color in there. It smells good already. So I'm just gonna give you like 10-15 seconds, well, even like a minute. Meanwhile, let me get. So we're gonna get meanwhile, well, not really, because I want to probably use that for poached eggs. I'm going to use the big pan for the poached eggs. Now, if you're adding it this hot, ideally you want to kind of wait a bit, and that's probably what I should have done. If it splits, it splits. That's on me. But then now what I want to do, I want to put this into the bowl, but I need to go really slowly because this is really hot and it's literally going to split the whole thing. If you feel like it gets it's a bit too hot, maybe temper it with a bit of water. Not a lot, because obviously you don't want to change the whole thing. But then a bit of water wouldn't do that much of a harm. So butter in slowly. And when I'm talking slowly, I really mean it. You don't want to kind of like burn these eggs and turn them now into scrambled eggs. This butter is really hot, and then the eggs are not at the same temperature. So at least at the beginning, till you kind of like bringing the eggs to the same temperature, you want to go slowly. It's like making mayo, but probably you need to go a bit more gentle. Let me actually show you what's going on here. For now, we are good. So we're slowly incorporating this butter into the egg mixture. I'm probably going to use like half of this butter, or a bit more than half, like 3/4. But I'm not going to probably need the whole thing. And if you feel like at the end, if you feel like the butter it's too thick, well, it's not the butter, the mixture, the Hollandaise is too thick, as I said, you could balance it with a touch of water, so that's fine. It's not gonna cause any issues. Okay. I mean, for like 2 portions that I want to make, I think I'm kind of like happy with what's going on here. But what I want to do, as you can see, is kind of thick. So a bit of warm water to balance the whole thing. So warm water going straight in, and then we're going to get like perfect consistency. Right. Okay, so that's what we're looking for. As you can see now, it's a lot better. It's like creamy. So we want to add now salt, pepper, all that seasoning, and the lemon juice. Really important. This is going to bring it. Well, it's kind of like it's a greasy sauce, so you need to cut through it with that acid. So that's why we need the lemon juice in order to do that. But technically, add just a bit more butter. Okay, not sure how much you can see, but this is like nice, creamy, just perfect consistency. And then you want to move these on the side. Just leave it here. You could pass it through a sieve just to make sure that you don't get any of those bits, you know, that might be overcooked on the side of the bowl. But for home cooking, it's fine. I don't see the point of doing that. You could just leave it the way it is. Ideally, you want to cover it with cling film. I'm talking like the whole surface of it, but we're gonna get in a minute to it, so we're not gonna keep it there for a long period of time. So it should be fine. It should be fine when we need it. Now, water. We're gonna get some water in here for the poached eggs. Good amount of water. A splash of vinegar and a touch of salt is what we need. Okay, bringing this to the boil. Okay, bringing this to the boil now. Okay, so a splash of vinegar. I'm talking probably like 1 tablespoon of vinegar in here, or a bit more, like 1.5. Let's say 2 tablespoons, because that's probably on the safer side, just to make sure what the vinegar does. It basically keeps the egg together once you put it inside the water. And I think like 2 tablespoons for what we've got, it should be fine. It should give us what we need. Also, meanwhile, I want to get the bacon ready. I've got some streaky bacon here. And I'm going to be cooking it in the pan. Going in a pan, kind of like easy, nothing complicated. Let me add a touch of salt to the water where we're poaching the eggs. Okay, so about 2-3 rashes of bacon per portion is what we want. I'm gonna cook a bit extra bacon just in case it shrinks too much, but I think 2 will be just fine. So for the poached eggs, this is the time probably you need to kind of like multitask, just because being breakfast, you kind of want to do it in a decent time and you don't want to wait ages. So eggs, I'm gonna get this straight into a bowl, because you want to check the egg, see if it's actually okay. So you want to have a perfect egg. Plus, it's a lot easier when you could go directly in there, but just in case you have a bad egg, then you have like a safety net here. Okay, I need the tongs, and I'm pretty sure they should be here somewhere. Found them. Perfect. So when the water starts boiling, by the way, make sure that you kind of like mix into your hollandaise from time to time so it doesn't form some of that crust at the top, especially considering that we are not passing it through any sieve or anything like that. So you just want to make sure that you kind of mix from time to time. It's not that bad because now we're gonna be using it in a minute. But then you could extra bacon. Yeah, we've got more bacon probably than we need, but we should be good. Probably 3 per portion with what we've got. Well, we've got 3 per portion. If let's say I'm making 2, then it would be just. I like the streaky bacon. I think it has a bit more like that fat once he renders into the pan. I think it gives us a lot better results. But this is totally up to you. You could go with normal bacon. You could go with like cook some of this. Oh, the beef boiling here as hell. So we're gonna get this to simmering temperature and start adding the eggs. Whether you're using 1 egg per portion or you're using 2 eggs per portion, this is totally up to you, my friend. Let's stop this going mental. Now, you need to form a whirlpool. Let me show you what's going on. So you need to form a whirlpool so you can drop the egg in the middle of that whirlpool so it stays nice and compact. So that's in the middle. 1 more. And we're gonna add 1 more. So we have 3 eggs going straight in. The last one probably missed some of that whirlpool, because what the whirlpool does when you're forming that whirlpool into the pan is basically wrapping up all those whites around the yolk, and then they stay compact. Well, in theory at least. We'll find out in a minute. We're still going here with the bacon. I'm gonna use exactly the same pan for the muffins, because I'm just gonna add a bit of butter in here and just kind of like give a bit of color to the muffins straight into the same pan, because obviously there is flavor at the bottom of this pan, and we wanna keep it this way. Okay, back to our Hollandaise. I didn't add any salt or pepper, so let's just get a bit of pepper and salt in here. Freshly grounded black pepper. I should have added earlier. The salt is probably not that big of a deal because I used low salted butter, so I think I've got enough salt in there. But if let's say you're using normal butter, unsalted butter, then it's when you probably want to add a bit of salt. But other than that, no seasoning is needed. Salt, if you use something that doesn't have salt, like that's fine, because they feel a bit all together in there. I hope that they didn't kind of like got stuck one to another. We'll find out. If they got stuck, they got stuck. What can you do? So let me get a bowl, or not bowl, a plate for the eggs. Just gonna put a bit of paper on this because I don't want all that water, once you get them from I don't want all that water into my dish. So that should absorb some of this water that is in here. So this should be simmering temperature. Now I just increased the heat slightly because obviously it kind of lost some of that heat when we dropped the eggs in, but it should be simmering temperature is what we want. Okay, bacon, we don't need it anymore, so I'm just gonna get it out of the way. Try to kind of make some space in here. I've got already the English muffins there. I've got 2 more here, but I don't need them. Yeah, so these are cooking gently here. I'm gonna show you, I don't even know exactly. I never really kind of like checked the time the eggs need. And to be honest, I don't know on top of my mind. I just kind of like test them. So the way you test them, you just kind of like bring it to the top and see if it has the right texture, the right filling, and that's how you're gonna know whether they are fine or not. It shouldn't take us a long time, but considering that we had it kind of on low temperature, it's probably gonna take longer than it should have. Now, chives. I've got here some chives. These are going on top of this will be going on top of the actual dish when it's done. You could add some to the Hollandaise sauce. I don't really see the point in this situation since we kind of like finishing with chives. So this should be fine the way it is. We'll just try to chop this finely so we can finish the dish with these chives. How are you guys doing this morning? I see that we have 3 people at this point, and this is kind of a big achievement just because obviously being that early in the morning, watching me live is not something that you guys probably can do, considering that it's still a working day today. Some of you might be pretending to work. That's a different story, but you still kind of need to be there physically. Okay, chives, just make sure that you get them like nicely chopped. So you need a sharp knife for it. Just going to reduce the heat now on these because the eggs are kind of going all over the place a bit. Right, so I've got the chives ready. Bacon is almost there. I kind of reduced the heat because I want it to go a bit crispy and then in the same time render some of that fat, which I'm going to be using the muffins in. Because I've not added any oil or anything like that. This is just basically cooking in its own fat. Which if you're using streaky bacon, you're going to get some of that benefit. If you're not using streaky bacon, you're not going to get some of that just because... Oh, Alex is cooking from 7. Oh, very strong. Oh, yeah, because you guys doing, I think, New Year's Eve party or something like that. Okay, eggs. These are done now. Nice. And I see that they are just kind of perfect. 2 of them kind of got stuck together, but I'm fine with that. So let me show you how they look like. So as you can see, they are cooked, but in the same time, they should have some sort of that they should still be soft inside. Okay, so bacon, this is still going. I'm gonna drag this on the side so just we keep it nice and warm, but we can get in the English muffins. So muffins, just cut them in half. You could split these with a fork, so just so you get like a slightly better. Okay, just getting a bit of butter in here so we have enough. Just gonna show you one because that's all you want to kind of see one how you do it, and then gonna draw this to the right, so getting ready plates and everything else. So cooking these now, just increasing the heat slightly because I want to give them a touch of color as well so they get nice and crispy, especially when it comes to the top of the, well, not this side. I want to make sure that it's slightly crispy. Now, plate. Let's get a plate for this dish. Okay, we've got a plate here. Eggs are still nice and we still have some sort of, they are still kind of like, I can feel that they are still fine inside. I'm talking they are still nice and soft. If this gets a bit too thick, as mentioned earlier, you could, again, add a touch of water. Not a lot, but just a bit of water. Just so now this is like literally the final point when nice, creamy, glossy is just the way we like it. Now let me get the spoon. Bacon should be fine. I'm just gonna get the bacon out as well. So the bacon is fine. I mean, let me just kind of like flip it over because in some of them are not all the way through. But look at this color because we kept it on low heat. Look at the color. If you kind of rush it, that's when, you know, you just get it like burn on the outside. But this is cooked all the way through now and it's nice and crispy because that's what we want. And that's why you don't want to kind of like go crazy with the heat. Now with the poached eggs, if you're making multiple and if you don't use them right away, you need to get them in cold water. This way you're going to stop them from cooking. But since we're using them now, we should be good. Okay, so bacon, I'm happy with it, removing it from the heat. English muffins, almost there. And then we can start plating. Yeah, as I said, it's probably a bit of a pain just because you need to kind of like keep moving with the Hollandaise, but it's just a bit more, it's a bit probably more technical sauce than something that you could just kind of like set and forget. But I think it's something great. If you know how to make it, you have so many possibilities after that to use it. Happy New Year to you, Alexandra, too. I wish you all the best. Thank you for being here with us. Okay, so this almost there. I'm just going to increase the heat now since I don't have anything. So the base will be the English muffins. After that, we're adding the poached eggs, which we got 3 poached eggs. 2 are kind of like stuck together. I'm going to go with 2, the ones here, and then just leave the other one. Probably for what you want to, the ideal probably poached eggs is this one. Because this one, it's just like nice, round, separated from all the others. But that's fine. Since they're going in the same plate, I'm happy with what I've got there. Okay, turning off the heat, going in with the muffins. After that, we're gonna get some bacon in. Let's go all the way through. So a portion, 4 slices of bacon. Alex said that extra bacon we're adding. And now, gentle with the eggs. And Hollandaise, let me just get a spoon. Just going on top of each one of the eggs. So let's say 1 tablespoon each. And then add some chives. And my friends, breakfast is served. That's what we got. I really hope that you enjoyed this recipe. As you can see, it's probably slightly more complicated than a recipe that you would make for breakfast in day-to-day basis. But let's say if you're waking up tomorrow morning and you want to make something a bit different, a bit special, then follow this recipe. It's not that bad. You might go wrong with the Hollandaise first time, but as I said, your safety net is kind of adding a touch of water that will kind of save you in situations like this. I really hope that you enjoyed this live. We've been live for 37 minutes. I think this is the shortest one we've done. And I'm happy that I didn't keep you that long. I mean, let's be honest, this breakfast recipe is not something that should take forever. And if you're making for multiple people, it's probably a bit more complicated, but it shouldn't get you that much in difficulty. Thank you for watching. I don't think we're going live tonight, although I was kind of thinking because I'm making something for New Year's Eve. I think that's it. That's it for this year. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being with me for this whole journey in cooking. We're going to have more recipes next year. We're going to have more cooking, more live streamings and all that kind of stuff. And thank you for being with me. I'll see you in the next one. Make sure you give this a thumbs up on the way out and a share if you have people that are interested on making a nice egg Benedict. And I will see you in the next one. Happy New Year from Kitchen Draft, from me, and all the best. Oh, we got Hugo here just on the way out. Hugo, may enjoy your time off, because I know you are away. All the best. Nice time. Have a nice time in Italy. Bye.